Nation, sometimes we turn to music in order to ask the larger questions, to analyze and potentially try to make sense of some of the larger mysteries that life itself always tends to hold on a daily basis. It's been almost 15 years since, on Dream Theater's classic Metropolis 2 Scenes from a Memory album, James LeBray uttered the words, "Where did we come from? Why are we here? And where do we go when we die?" It's weird to feel as though it's almost 15 years ever since those now famous words are muttered in the song The Spirit Carries On. But now beyond the new album here in 2013 from Omnium Gatherum, and seems to really be rehashing this idea of asking the larger questions, talking specifically about what happens at the end of one's life, whenever one is about ready to transcend reality and go to, I guess, their afterlife destination. All depending on what they believe, all depending on what actually happens. This is an album that is meant to really assault and tackle those large questions, and perhaps offer some ideas or some situations where this is relevant. Omnium Gatherum has been now a band for more than 10 years. In fact, they have been around since 1997. And this is their 6th studio album, so at this point in time in Omnium Gatherum's career, they are no longer new kids on the block. They're no longer fresh faces. They are now a seasoned pro of melodic death metal, although in the last couple of albums, they've transitioned that sound a little bit more toward the progressive side of melodic death metal, thus giving it a little bit more of a feel that resembles almost a Insomnium in some way, shape, or form. So this is a band that does have some contemporaries. However, their sound has certainly crafted an audience. They have been steadily and progressively getting more and more in the way of fans, popularity, notoriety, and this has become easily their most anticipated album to date, and they don't fail to deliver. That's the one triumphant part about this story. It is not like some of the stories that I've had to tell in the past, some of those larger questions that I've had to ask about albums that have come out, of course the largest question being, why? With this I don't have to ask why, mainly because this is an album and it's 10 tracks in length and it's 57 minutes in length, really is able to continuously entertain, and by entertain I of course mean enthrall you. It's able to keep you wrapped into the music. There's a nice consistency to it. There is a differentiation. There is enough variety on this album in order to keep you in and locked into your seat and basically listening to this album. There are headbanging moments, there are softer moments, there is even a song on this album that resembles and feels more like a ballad. Yeah, something where that soft, melodic voice is used almost exclusively as a way in which to really perceive and dictate a mood that you yourself feel, which is a fantastic achievement. There are 2 tracks on here that eclipse the 8-minute length, and these are 2 tracks where I really feel that the band truly shines. Mainly because I've always been one, and I've always been a big fan of albums that are able to kind of expand and really stretch out their compositions and take it places that perhaps they're not able to do in a 4 to 5 minute runtime. With an epic track, you have a little bit more time to really progress your ideas and really enhance everything that you're trying to bring to the song as far as mood is concerned, as far as message is concerned, and as far as the musical, status of it, the musical progression, the musical, I guess the musical journey that is being tread with the listener. You as an artist, you have a little bit more openness than you do with a shorter track where you kind of have to wham, bam, thank you, sir, it very, very quickly. And with this album, Omnium Gatherum is really able to channel a lot of elements of progressive music in order to really make each and every one of these songs, especially these epics, really feel magnificent, really feel monumental. Since this is an album that is dealing with such subject matter as it is, you take an album named such as Beyond, and you almost immediately are able to perceive what we're going to be speaking about, and you can understand why this is a topic that can really encourage opening up of song structures, opening up of song lengths, opening up of very introspective, very interesting, and very thought-provoking lyrics. And that's something that this album is able to do. It's something that is wrapped up nice and tightly into a bow for you and presented to you as a gift. As far as the overall general flow of this album is concerned, this variety is the one thing that really shines forth as its strength. This is an album that, once again, Omnium Gatherum has taken special care to ensure that there is not just a simulacrum between every single song that is existent on this album. It's instead one where they have fine-tuned their craft once again even further in order to create an atmosphere that has enough variance in which to keep you very much enthralled and very much questioning what's going to happen next. And by the moment that the very last minute of White Palace leaves your stereo speakers, enters into your ear, and finally exits, and all that it remains is nothingness and silence. It's very similar to the Dark Throne record that I reviewed earlier this week, and that feeling that you desire for more. You must desire that the experience that is now over was not. And that is, of course, the sign of a terrific album. That is the sign of an album that is able to really take you on a nice journey. Not to mention, it is almost like watching your favorite movie over and over again, wishing almost that there was other scenes, that there was more that was done, that perhaps there was a second quest similar to the first Legend of Zelda game for NES, that equaled the magnificence, that equaled the power, and that just kept the experience going. It's very, very difficult to put this album down, and it's very hard to not touch the repeat button on certain tracks. I have to say, Omnium Gatherum, I remember whenever they first debuted in the early 2000s, I remember being in college and seeing this band, this Omnium Gatherum band, and I forget exactly, I think it was actually through Insomnium that I found them. I found them as one of those searches within a search, and tried them out and enjoyed their sound. I felt that they had a lot of potential. But as they have developed, they have certainly moved leagues beyond what I expected. And this is certainly a band that is right now on that nice musical plateau that I seem to always mention in a lot of these videos, where they have gotten on such a roll, where they have been able to really channel great vision after great vision, where they've been able to exhibit positive and thought-provoking songcraft, and actually kind of step up their game each and every album, give it enough of those little subtle tweaks in order to just become not only a relevant band, but a band that is definitely on their way to becoming known as one of the elites in their subgenre. If you don't know Omnium Gatherum at this point, if this is a band that has escaped your ears, if it's a band whose name has escaped your lips, today is the day in which that ends. Because my recommendation for you, my plea for you, my desire for you, is to find Omnium Gatherum on either YouTube or go online and order an album. This is a band that is certainly worth your exploration. Beyond is an album that is definitely worth your exploration and worth your time. This is one where you'll feel very rewarded in the end whenever you listen to it all the way through, because you'll feel as though you've just found a new friend. You'll feel as though you've just found a new buddy to share your time with. And this is something that, while it will make you and cause you to ask some very, maybe challenging and disheartening questions at some periods of time in your life, it's also a band that certainly will help you through. Really, really liked this album. Really liked what it stood for. Really enjoyed how it was represented musically. I have to give this album a strong 8.75 out of 10. I think that this is an album that certainly needs to be shared with the world. I think this is one that needs to be shared from you guys, the Cover Killer Nation, to all people that perhaps do not know the name Omnium Gatherum. That is your quest. That is your homework assignment. Please, please, do not fail.